Welcome to r/reader of Reddit. In r/am I the hole where friend invites herself for an impromptu barbecue without permission. Before that, first story is AITA for speaking another language and giving my stepsister secondhand embarrassment. Here's a bit of a backstory. I, F15, am Asian American. My mom is Caucasian while my dad is Chinese Filipino. I also have an older brother. My biological dad passed away when I was young, and my mom remarried around 2022. Now, I have an amazing dad and an older sister. My mom works corporate for a cruise company, and therefore, I don't mean to brag, but my family frequently goes on cruises. My sister recently graduated HS, and back came home to San Francisco. She attended HS in the East Coast. And now, my family is on this amazing cruise to the Caribbean to celebrate. Just yesterday, my sister and I were in the pool deck, and she needed to wash her hands. The ship we were on was really big, and I wasn't too familiar with the layout, so in order to locate the bathroom, I asked a kind worker for directions. I tried to speak to her in English, but she didn't seem to understand initially. But when I noticed the Philippines in her badge on the cruise, the nationality of a staff member could be found in their badge. So I began talking to the lady in Filipino. My grandpa was Filipino, so he taught me. The lady and I had a short and happy conversation before eventually asking where the nearest bathroom was, and I led my sister to go there. While we were walking, my sister told me to just speak in English and said that Filipino is the workers' language. Plenty of the staff on board are Filipino, and mentioned it was embarrassing for her because she said she didn't want us to be associated with them. Those were her exact words. I was shocked. I didn't know why she would be embarrassed and ashamed, but I still felt really bad. I didn't mean anything. I just wanted to speak Filipino due to my heritage, and the lady seemed to be really happy when I did so anyways. I told my sister I won't do it again, but was it really that rude to speak in another language in the West? What do you think? Second story is AITA for ignoring my friend's phone calls after she invited herself, her spouse, her children, and her friends to my home for an impromptu barbecue without my permission. My friend is having a hard time with her spouse and really needs someone to be there for her while they work through their issues. We only just recently reconnected after not speaking for 4 years. Now, every time she calls, she asks me what I'm doing for the day or at that moment, and then invites herself, her family of 4, and some of her friends over to my house. Example 1 for clarity. Friday was her spouse's birthday. Monday, she told me her plan was to take him to dinner. Then she calls me Friday morning asking me what I was doing. I told her I was just watching a movie on my couch. Then she says I know it's last minute, but I want to come over and barbecue at your house. She said the kids could play together, and we could hang out and have some drinks. I hesitated initially, and then told her that I didn't really have a lot of meat here nor was my home company ready. She responded that she would grab some more food and do all of the cooking. Then I said okay. I cleaned up a little bit, and then I received a second call. She excitedly told me that she invited her guy friend and he may bring a friend for me to talk to, and a female friend of hers was also coming. I was so shocked that she was trying to throw a party, not just come over and hang out with just her family, like she implied during the first call. Her family already was 4 people that I was not expecting, which would have made a total of 8 people, including my own children. I have only met 2 of the 3 people she invited. She did not even ask if she could invite anyone else to my home or give out my address. Luckily, I got a call on the other line and told her I'd call back. 2 hours passed by, and she called me repeatedly. I decided to text her that something came up and I can't host a party for her husband. I did not receive a response. I waited another 2 hours and then called her to see how the barbecue party was going. She told me she didn't even have the barbecue party. Like, WTF? I asked her why she didn't ask her friends to come to her apartment since she has her own barbecue grill, and why didn't she at least go out to dinner like she planned originally. She literally didn't even answer the first question, but said she didn't want to spend a lot of money going out to eat. Am I the asshole for making up an excuse to end the call and then ignoring all of her repeated calls to confirm? Third story is AITA for telling my BFS parents that even idiots would look down on them. I, 27M, and my boyfriend, 29M, have been together for 5 years, and our relationship has been a good one. Never had a problem with his family or friends. My boyfriend's sister, 27F, let's call her Sarah, have been my best friend since we were 16, and we share everything with each other, as I see her as the sister I never had. Well, she has been dating a guy, and he's an absolute catch. Funny, smart, and most of all, he makes her extremely happy. He is not white, but me and my BFS family are. Sarah recently introduced him to the family, and I was the only one that met him prior to that. Well, as it turns out, my BFS parents are racist bigots and started going on about how whites should only be with whites in front of him. Sarah lost her mind and started yelling at them and then left. My BFS parents looked at me and him and said that they don't understand why she got so mad. Now this is where I might have been the but I kinda went off on them and told them that even idiots would look down on them and left. My BF told me that I was out of line. He get that they were wrong and that kind of shit they were saying was just pure ignorance, but that I never have the right to speak to his parents like that. I don't regret what I said, but my BF is giving me the silent treatment. AITA? Edit. Since this is a question a lot of you have been asking. The thing is, I have never heard them say anything about people with other ethnicities, and because they have lived in a neighborhood since my BF was born where 99% of them are white, I think that never came up. I have never heard them say anything remotely racist since I have known them, as that is typically something you would not have a discussion about. Fourth story is AITA for telling my parents they need to place their next kid for adoption. My parents have 4 kids already. Me, 17M, my younger sister, 13F, younger brother, 12M, and youngest sister, 10F. My parents have relied on me heavily to take care of my siblings. Started when I was still too young to do much, but they'd put them in my room if a nightmare happened, and after each sibling was 6 months old, they started sharing a room with me until they were 3. Then it was getting me to prepare something to eat for my younger siblings. It was also staying home with them while mom went shopping, and over time it evolved. I help with homework. I make sure they're awake for school. I walk them to school since I don't have a car. I feed them, and most of the time I'm the one they come to if they need help with something. My parents will drop them off at birthday parties or to friends' houses. They'll take us out for family experiences, but admittedly expect me to keep an eye on my siblings. My parents provide the food and house and clothes. I provide the emotional stuff. I don't love doing it, but I got so used to it that it became second nature. I'm still the person my youngest sister comes to if she has a nightmare or is afraid of anything during the night. My parents learned they were pregnant again in February. They told me and my siblings last month. It was very much talked about like I will have the baby with me, in my room, for the jump and should learn how to independently change diapers and stuff. I made it clear from the jump that I wasn't raising their next kid for them. I told them I had more responsibility to my 3 siblings than I should have ever had. But I wasn't going to skip my own life to raise an infant from the start. My parents were shocked. They tried to get one of my younger siblings on board, but they said no way. They didn't want to be responsible like me. My parents returned to me with the topic and asked what the fuck they're meant to do, and they never expected me to reject a sibling like this. I said I reject child raising another one of their kids. Not a sibling. But also, I'll be out of the house in 7 months. I won't be around the new sibling as much, and the relationship might not be the same. I told them I don't want the same relationship either. I don't want to be a parent to another sibling. They made it pretty clear they don't want to do the actual child raising, and they're living a nightmare over this. When the topic came up during the last week, I told them they need to place the baby for adoption since they won't have a good childhood with nobody wanting to raise them. I told my parents it would be the kindest thing to do if they refused to raise the baby themselves. My parents accused me of treating adoption flippantly, and they were sorta outraged. I would rather they place the baby for adoption than for me to step up and raise this one too. AITA, that's it for today's episode. See you in the next video.